These liberals really know how to embarrass liberal voters. After 7 straight months of fight, 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 elbows up, they want to break us in order to own us. Those elbows got slammed down faster than I've ever seen. The elbows are now completely missing. We're still looking for those elbows, and we went from elbows up to transformational leadership. $1 trillion heading your way, Donald Trump. You are absolutely the very best leader the world has ever seen. Then you have the elbows up crowd cheering, saying this is the best leader Canada has ever had. I don't know how much purple Kool-Aid people are consuming in Canada. There's something seriously wrong with these people. Just imagine Pierre Poilievre called Donald Trump a transformational leader. You would have a bunch of liberal heads explode, and we would have CBC in full meltdown, providing 24-hour breaking news coverage. In today's report, I got Mark Carney praising Donald Trump again. Howard Lutnick says cars will no longer be built in Canada, and Doug Ford has something to say about that. Let's get into this report. Let's start the show off with Sky News Australia, which has 6 million subscribers, has featured me on one of their reports.
This commentator agreed, saying, Donald Trump unleashed on wokeism. Mark Carney is #1 woke. It was intentionally done by Trump. Trump then brought up another sour point between the...
And in their press release, they could have chose from millions of other content creators, but they chose me. I am flattered. You could go ahead and check out Sky News. Maybe I'll put it in the comments section. A picture from the Oval Office was leaked of Mark Carney and Donald Trump. Mark Carney's got his red tie just for Donald Trump, and Donald Trump's got a blue tie just for Mark Carney. And after Mark Carney said, look at my red tie that I wore just for you, Donald Trump, he went back into the car and put on his Make America Great Again hat. This photo was leaked by Canada Roast. Thank you for your content. And we have this picture circling the internet. Oh man, is this accurate? Here's another image from inside the Oval Office. Is it just me, or does this not look like a special education field trip for a high school class? I am now convinced that Mark Carney is in fact Mark Carney MAGA. Prove me wrong. Just prove me wrong. It's official. There is a Make Elbows Great Again movement that has started in Ottawa today. And here is actual footage of Mark Carney getting off the airplane in Washington, D.C., ready to visit Donald Trump with his elbows up. And the crowd goes wild. Donald Trump was actually able to broker peace in the Middle East. Here's what Donald Trump had to say about it.
To deal with trade, having the ability to use tariffs to help me make a point. The tariffs have brought peace to the world. I'm telling you, they brought peace to the world. And not only here, but with so many other deals. You know, I've made 7 peace deals where countries were in many cases 30, 31 years, 135, 137 years. They've been fighting and millions of people being killed, and I brought peace. And I did it through, in not all cases, but probably in at least 5 of the 7 that we've done so far, it was through trade.
When Mark Carney heard this press release, I guarantee you he's curled up in an office somewhere with his head inside a pillow, because it looks like Donald Trump is loving all of these tariffs. We finally got some great news. The Conservatives were able to stop Bill C-2. which was terrifying. The one where they could open your mail and monitor your electronic devices without a warrant. They could also send your digital information to foreign countries, and once it leaves the country, it's gone. Well, we got great news from Roman Barber, but it ain't over. We still have 2 more bills to end.
Nice to be able to deliver some good news finally. Roman Baber, Conservative Member of Parliament, the Liberals are backing down on Bill C2, that's the Strong Borders Act. You remember that Conservatives had serious objections about opening mail without a warrant or using a backdoor to snoop on the activity of Canadians online without a warrant. Well, we learn now that the Liberals will not be able to get it through. They will have to bifurcate, to separate the bill in two. They will be introducing a new border bill on Friday, but this is a huge win for our Conservative team and leader Pierre Poilievre to defend the civil liberty of Canadians. I am really, really pleased with this result.
This is exciting news, Canada. This was a very bad bill. We'll find out what the new bill looks like tomorrow. Now, this is hilarious. Andrew Cohn, which helped get the Liberals elected, wrote here, but let's read the first one. Carney raised Exxon XL pipeline revival in the meeting with Trump. U.S. president was receptive to the idea of energy partnership that could lead to lower tariffs. Andrew Cohn, hilarious. From old relationship is over, and Donald Trump wants to break us so that he could own us, to energy partnership and Golden Dome in a space of 6 months. Let's see what I wrote to Andrew. It's about time you realize Mark Carney's election scam. Better late than never. Here's a prime example why we need to completely defund the CBC and it needs to be dismantled. Watch the reporter read this breaking news press release word for word. You can't get any more propaganda than this.
We have more details on the Prime Minister's trip to Washington. In a release, the Prime Minister's office says this: the Prime Minister and the President welcomed the progress achieved to date in building a new economic and security relationship between their nations. Canada currently has the best agreement of any U.S. trading partner, with 85% of Canada-U.S. trade now tariff-free, and our cooperation is further improving border security. The leaders identified opportunities for material progress in trade, in steel, aluminum, and energy, and directed their teams to conclude the work in the coming weeks. They also talked about some important international issues. And then the leaders also discussed opportunities to cooperate in defense and focused on their shared efforts to bolster Arctic security. The Prime Minister emphasized Canada's increased investments, our upcoming defense industrial strategy, and the potential for further collaboration. And then it goes on to talk about what Mark Carney was doing last night. The Prime Minister met with Vice President J.D. Vance and Second Lady Usha Vance at their residence, and they discussed a number of common priorities and the broader work to build a new economic and security relationship between Canada and the United States. And it goes on to just talk about how the Prime Minister met with a number of congressional leaders as well.
Can you guys believe it? It's just word for word whatever Mark Carney wants CBC to say, they just repeat it. There's zero journalism going on. There's no questioning the narrative. They receive their paycheck, and that is it. We got David Eby. He comes out daily. Every single day he comes out. And he bashes Alberta. He says we need to unify this country. We got all the projects to make Canada rich and stand on our own 2 feet. But if it includes Alberta's oil, no freaking way.
I've explained to Premier Smith on multiple occasions the impact of what she's doing, that this had better be a real project. She better have a proponent before she starts this work. And she understands my position very clearly. But the bottom line is I just can't sit by and have her say that Canada doesn't work unless she gets her way on this pipeline, which bottom line means that Canadians from coast to coast to coast need to pay tens of billions of dollars to Alberta to deliver another publicly funded pipeline when they're not even using the pipeline we bought them last time. And so when you put those things together and the cost to Canadians of potentially compromising these major projects that we're already trying to advance, like there's a lot for us to talk about, but there are certain lines in the sand for British Columbia, and one of them is don't mess with our projects unless you've got something real to bring forward. And I don't think that's too much to ask. That feels fair to me, and fairness is a real Canadian value.
You know what? He's so weak. These lefties have very low testosterone. Oh, please don't. You're going to ruin our projects. If the Liberals remove the 9 bad bills, which is preventing our energy resources from being developed, if they remove those, you know how many hundreds of billions of dollars would flood into this country and pump out all of the oil? We have the 3rd largest oil reserves on planet Earth, and we're still using oil for everything. So yes, that pipeline would be filled with 1 million barrels per day, bringing in $20 billion worth of wealth to our country. David Eby is against Canada. And we got some breaking news, and this is exciting. Donald Trump has just classified Antifa a global T group. That means in Canada, making our streets safer. This is good news, Canada. The one thing is that our federal government has been funding this group. What does that mean for our government?
Are you going to work with your administration as the Secretary of State's here? Are you going to work with your administration to designate it a foreign terror organization?
You mean a terror?
Antifa? A foreign terror organization.
Well, has that been done? Pretty close, right? Would you like to see it done?
Yes, Mr. President.
You think it would help?
They have foreign
I'd be
links
glad
all
to
across
do it. I
Western
think it's
Europe.
the kind of thing I'd like to do. If you'd like, does
Middle
everybody
East.
agree? If you agree, I agree. Let's get it done. Okay? Let's get it done. Marco, we'll take care of it.
Mr. President.
That's international, you mean?
Yes.
International.
Yes, President.
Sounds good to me.
Foreign terror organization.
Steve, are you okay with it?
Yes, it's true. There are extensive foreign ties, and I think that would be a very valid step to take.
Good. I think so, too.
Yes.
Good. I think it's a good point. Thank you.
Mark Carney better unfollow Rebecca Jones immediately. Mark Carney only follows 777 people, and she is one of them. Check this out. Wow, you know what? She cleaned up her... Oh no, it's still... Yeah. Mark Carney's back in the House of Commons, and he's praising Donald Trump again. He is this transformational leader.
Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, today is a momentous day, and I'm sure all parliamentarians would join me in recognizing the historic progress that has been made in the Middle East under President Trump's 20-point peace plan. And I would like, on behalf of members, I would like to commend the leaders of Egypt, Qatar, Turkey, the architects of the plan, Mr. Kushner and Witkoff, and underscore, as I did to the President and to Mr. Kushner, Canada's full support in ensuring that all parties implement all phases.
Mark Carney sure went from elbows up to praising Donald Trump. Make sure you head to my YouTube channel and check out this video that I published earlier today. It's only 2 minutes and 38 seconds. It shows Mark Carney during the election campaign, and it shows the new Mark Carney. The reason I made the video is I almost wanted to vomit when I saw Mark Carney kiss up Buttercup, Donald Trump in the Oval Office after all he said in order to get elected. Oh yeah, this one's an instant classic. Now, Canada's Public Safety Minister, Anand Sangari, in Parliament, he was asked if he met up with a single Christian congregation that was targeted with 123 churches gone. You're not going to believe what he said.
Appreciate you talking about the rise of hate in Canada and the meetings that you said you've had with synagogues and mosque communities. Are you aware that 123 churches have been burned or desecrated in the last 4 years in Canada?
Mr. Lloyd, I am aware that a number of places of worship, including churches, have been vandalized, yes.
Have you met with any of those congregations, Minister?
I have not met with those specific congregations, but I have met with many members of different church and faith groups.
You haven't met with any of the members of the congregations in Canada, churches that have been subject to crimes over the last 4 years in this country?
I have not, no.
Is it because crimes against Christians aren't a priority for this government, Minister?
That's absolutely incorrect.
Well, you said you met with synagogues and mosques, which I do appreciate. Those communities need your support, Minister, but Christian communities also need your support. Why have you not met with any of those communities, Minister?
Well, I can tell you that I meet with faith leaders. I meet with Christian leaders across Canada all the time.
Thank you.
I've met with...
I'm going to move on to the next question.
Gary wasn't finished getting questioned. Check this one out.
Minister, 600 foreign nationals were set to be deported. 70% of them committed violent crimes, including assaults. Where are they?
Thank you, Mr. Caputo. Thank you for that question. As you're aware, the Canada Border Services Agency is tasked with removals of those who are deemed to be
Minister, I'm sorry, we don't need a preamble. We just need an answer. Where are the 600 people who were set to be deported? Maybe I'll ask this way. Do you know where they are? Yes or no?
Mr. Chair, if I may respond to this question in whole. So, as you're aware, the CBSA is tasked with the removal of those who are inadmissible to Canada. In this particular case, we have been ensuring that removals have been taking place at an unprecedented rate.
I asked about the 600 people, Minister. I didn't ask about removals at an unprecedented rate. Do you know where they are? Yes or no?
Well, there is a set of...
I'll take that as a no, Minister. Let's move on.
Let's be clear, Mr. Caputo. There are...
Oh, man. This is our public safety minister. He has no idea what he's doing. Oh, you're going to get a kick out of Yves Blanchet today. He says no pipeline for Alberta, no pipeline across Quebec, that's for sure. And then he says today, Quebec is not just a province. It's its own sovereign nation with its right to self-determination. They're claiming they're not even part of Canada. They always put their hand out for that wonderful equalization payments.
On the bill that was just tabled in Quebec on a Quebec constitution, can you repeat in English what your reaction is to that?
Oh, in English it would be much shorter than in French. If the National Assembly of Quebec, l'Assemblée nationale du Québec, which is the only voice of the Quebec nation, as a nation, wants to have discussions about a constitution, it's none of Canada's business.
With all the news happening down south and in Canada, people are not paying attention to the Canadian loonie. It is in free fall right now. Pretty soon, we're going to be known as the snow peso. I wouldn't be surprised if the loonie hit 68 cents, between 68 cents and 70 cents by Christmas. With the biggest decline happening November 4th for our wonderful disaster of a budget. Pierre Poilievre says if he was prime minister, he would have already have started construction on the Northern Gateway pipeline. No wasting time.
Mr. Carney, on the question of a pipeline to the Pacific, of course I support it. If I'd been elected prime minister on April 28th, construction would be underway right now on that project. And if you question that, I'll tell you how. We already had an approved project to go from Hardisty, Alberta to Kitimat. The route, the pathway is already there. 80% of First Nations already endorsed the project. Why not get building? What's there to study? We already know that there's 2 billion people in Asia that want to buy that energy. So it's a no-brainer. And it would have been under construction today. Well, it would have been under construction 10 years ago had Trudeau not killed it, and it would be under construction if I had been chosen. Of course, this was the subject of a very big disagreement Mr. Carney and I had at the industry committee before we were both leaders. We had a big debate about it. He said he was against the Northern Gateway pipeline. I said I was for, and he was simultaneously having his company invested in pipelines in Brazil and the Middle East at the time, but not wanting to build one in Canada. That's the difference. I want to build stuff here in this country.
If Canada elected Pierre Poilievre, we'd already start the Northern Gateway pipeline, bringing 1 million barrels of Alberta oil to Asian markets, earning $20 billion a year for Canada. We have an update from Kerr Strymer in the UK about this wonderful digital ID.
On digital ID, let me be really clear about it. Firstly, we have made a commitment to do whatever we can to stop people arriving illegally in the United Kingdom.
How is digital ID going to stop people from arriving in the United Kingdom? They created the crisis, and their solution is to control people in the UK with this wonderful digital ID.
One of the issues is the ability people have to work illegally in our economy. We have to do something about that. We can't shirk that or duck that. We had a strong manifesto commitment to deal with it. I think the vast majority, if not everyone in the UK, wants it gripped, and we need to therefore take measures necessary to grip it. One of the things on digital ID that I do think we need to emphasise and make the case for, frankly, is the great benefits of digital ID. You can see from Estonia the speed with which people can access services that are available to them, which has been transformational, and there's great enthusiasm in Estonia for it. Here in India, I think it's 1 billion people have digital ID. It's been taken up on a voluntary basis in huge numbers. Not least because it means that you can access your own money, make payments so much more easily than is available with others.
You can officially access your money. That's how they make it convenient. How else would you access your money?
So I think now we need to go out and make that case of the huge benefits that this will bring. There needs to be a national debate about it, and I think that the more people see the benefits that come with this, the more, as has happened in other countries, people say, that will make my life easier, and therefore I want to get on with it.
What do you think out there? What do you think, Canada? This better not come here. Kirk Lubanoff on X, the wealthiest 20% of Canadian households own 65% of all total net worth, and the bottom 40%, just 3.3%. Most Canadians haven't even been able to save for years. Not only did they miss the bull run, but they have no way of keeping up with inflation. And Mark Carney is set to print record deficits. The poor will get even poorer faster, and the dollar they work for will be worth less and less. Check out this chart. And as you can see, it's only getting worse. So the people that are the lowest income earners, 40% of the Canadian population, they're falling off a cliff. Minister Tim Hodgson, which is the Minister of Energy for Canada, is testifying in the Senate. Check this clip out.
Minister, thank you for accepting to come before the Senate. After a decade of Liberal red tape and stalled projects, the result is clear. Investments, Minister, are leaving Canada. Enbridge now invests 2/3 of its $30 billion a year in the United States. And I quote, where they say the opportunities are better, end of quote. Imperial Oil is cutting 900 jobs, most of them in Calgary. Your government has added yet another layer of bureaucracy with Bill C-5 instead of repealing its own anti-energy laws like C-69, C-48, and the oil and gas emissions cap. Why create a new law to bypass your own barriers rather than simply abolishing them? With this irresponsible approach, you're fueling the American economy while the Canadian economy minister continues to suffer.
So true. Why?
Thank you for your question.
Can't wait to
Mr.
hear
Senator.
why.
I'd invite you to come with me on some of the trips I've been on in the last few weeks. I was in Gaspésie this past weekend where there's a multi-billion-dollar new smelter being built and where we just provided funds for 2 new phosphate mines in Quebec. I was recently in Strathcona where they're building a multi-billion-dollar carbon capture and storage, one of the world's largest. I was recently in Squamish where the Squamish Nation is building a multi-billion-dollar export facility. I was recently in Kitimat where they just finished a multi-billion-dollar aluminum project. They've just started up and we're shipping the first Canadian LNG to international markets, and we're in discussions about doubling the size of that, making it the second largest LNG facility in the world. And we just greenlight the Silicium project. So I would respectfully say that Canada is building right now.
Minister, your trips are all nice and dandy, and that perspective is very interesting. But the truth of the matter is the stats don't lie. International foreign investment is flooding to the United States compared to Canada, and our foreign investment in this country is at the lowest level it's been in over a decade. These are the facts, Minister. You promised to make Canada an energy superpower capable of standing up to the Americans, and now you're considering reviving the Keystone XL pipeline, not because Canadians asked for it, but because Donald Trump asked for it. Is this the Liberal vision of strong sovereignty, to promise to stand up to Americans, only to end up obeying Donald Trump?
Monsieur le Ministre.
Again, respectfully, I would disagree with the perspective. Canada is building strong. Our Prime Minister set as a goal from our new government to attract $500 billion of new investment to Canada. In the first 5 projects that we announced as part of our major projects office, $60 billion of private sector money has been attracted in just those 5 projects. And there are many more, like the Silisum project, like the project I saw in Saguenay. So I would respectfully say that Canada is building. It's building at a pace it has not done in a long, long time.
What's 17 trillion versus 60 billion? And the 60 billion he's talking about, these projects have been in the books for the last 5 years. There's no new money. This guy's gaslighting Canadians, saying we're building at record speeds. Nothing is happening in Canada. Zilch. Zero. Do not buy what he is selling. How's your paychecks going, Canada? Because of all of you, we are the news now in Canada. Influencers, not news outlets or politicians, dominated election online. Influencers accounted for half of the political content in the researchers' data set, while news outlets made up 28% and politicians accounted for 18%. Let me show you some stats. I'm on YouTube, obviously, but I'm also on Instagram, TikTok, and this is my Twitter X account. In just 1 year, I have 373 million impressions. That means how many times people have viewed my content. Almost 9 million likes, 1 million replies, 2.2 million reposts. Yeah, independent content creators are absolutely crushing it in Canada, and it's all thanks to you. If you're not following me on the other social media platforms, you probably should, especially my Twitter X account. Howard Lutnick is promising to destroy Canada's auto industry and bring all of the manufacturing down to the United States. And Doug Ford's response.
As Canada hopes for relief on steel and aluminum tariffs, U.S. Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick is reportedly rejecting any possibility of a deal on the auto sector. Lutnick spoke virtually to a Canada-U.S. conference in Toronto today, and according to multiple reports citing sources and some of our own sources who were in that room, Lutnick says there will be no free trade deal without tariffs, that Canada should accept being second to the U.S. on autos, and that cars will be assembled in the United States, not in Canada. At that same conference today, Ontario Premier Doug Ford had this response.
I will put legislation in if he wants to destroy our auto sector and destroy our steel sector, and for Quebec, the aluminum sector. There won't be a grain of critical minerals going south of the border. There won't be one ounce of energy coming from Ontario, because you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to use that cheap energy that we're selling to our American friends to be competitive to sell products around the world. That's what we're going to do. I wouldn't want to do it, but that option's on the table.
None of this would be a discussion point if we got a deal with Donald Trump from Mark Carney, as he promised. That's it for today's report. There is never a dull day in Canada. I'm enjoying providing everybody these reports, and I read most of the comments, so thanks for leaving those comments. What do you think's gonna happen next? I'll see you on the next report.